And it's nice to meet you, Vince.
Nice to meet you too, Brett.
Vince, Brett, Vince.
Pleasure.
Yeah, you did a great job of introducing us. There,
Well, shit, we're rolling now, baby.
Yeah.
I like the Schatzy shirt, I'll tell you that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Even though Ryan and Vinny both think that men shouldn't wear women's wrestling merch, I have a shit ton of it. So
I've got some.
Are those the two? Those the guys from Front Face Lock, right?
Yes.
That's whack. That's all. Yeah, I'm not saying they're whack. I'm just saying that line of thinking it's whack.
They're pretty whack, but they're pretty whack, but they're fucking tight too. So, I mean, Ryan wants to get the shit beaten out of him by Shayna. So,
very true.
Yeah,
and Vinny hates everyone equally.
Yeah.
Men, women,
everyone. Yeah,
everyone.
Children. Maybe not his own. I don't know. Maybe.
You never know.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's up, Tim?
Why is bot? I think we have to remove that again.
Well, it was Nightbot, and Nightbot was removed.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, if Wisebot starts yelling at people, you just type in there exclamation point Nightbot remove, and then he goes away. So,
what's Nightbot?
It's this thing that they have that like auto sets up, and for whatever reason, the first time we went live, when we had no idea what the fuck we were doing, it was like yelling at people for using all caps and shit. And then our chat was fighting with Nightbot. So,
all right.
Mostly it was Reek about to have a street fight with him.
This is literally our third live show. Like we never.
Oh, 5 really?
Years, we haven't gone live, and then after we did our 5-year anniversary, Vince wanted to start going live for his spin-off show, Spit or Swallow. And Travis is like, oh, well, I kind of want to build the Twitch and YouTube, so just go live every week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
I didn't yeah, love it. Yeah, we've done a few live streams. We don't do too many, but it seems like there's always some sort of fuck up whenever we do.
Mm-hmm.
But it all works out in the end.
Well, that was the nice thing is I was really lazy. I didn't have to learn how to produce or do anything. I literally just host a Zoom call, and then I'd send the video and audio files to Travis, and then he would handle everything. And next thing I know, I'd just be like, oh, it's up.
That's Bo for us. Like, I mean, we would edit together sometimes, but yeah, he handles all that stuff, and yeah, it's nice.
And I have to be able to mute Vince or send him to the waiting room. So,
well, what's great about this is that you can send me to the waiting room, and it won't fuck up the stream now.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not a overlay; it's just us over the background.
Mm-hmm. Aren't you happy?
So no editing needed.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. My phone's about to die, by the way. So. Oh, you know what, Matt? The more and more I look at that picture, I did not see the covered M&M guy.
I loved that. Yeah. It took me to the second look.
This should be the thumbnail instead. Like
that was I'm like, whoa, that M&M's covered in cum. That's tight.
Katie, if you want to make that the thumbnail, you can.
Katie, how do you walk in and choose violence? I haven't even said anything negative towards you. Like you like what's going on here?
Well, now you're up 1 in the race for Pornhub Poppy, so I think she's getting a little
uneasy.
Edit that 22-21.
There you go, 22-21. I plan on making it 23-21 before I let her get another lead.
Well, I did tell her I was going to give her next week off since she'll be in Chicago and not make her host or join from the hotel room off her phone or whatever. So
like it's a good thing you brought that up because I was going to ask you because you were talking about doing like Navy Pier and I'm like, how late are we doing Navy Pier? Are we going to be watching like the shows? Like, are we going to do the show? Or are we going to do it like on a Saturday instead? Like I had questions.
Well, I have a child and my child has to be in bed by 7. So I have to be home by 7 to get my child in bed, which means I'll be home to watch SmackDown. Now, whatever the fuck you do, as long as you're home in time for the stream, I don't care. Tentatively, we have the broadcast next week, if everything works out right. So we're gonna go down under next week with broadcast.
Hell yeah!
So they're gonna stay up because I know are they?
They're like waking up around this time. I feel.
Yeah,
like.
He told me it would be like 2 p.m. for him.
Okay.
Right now. So.
Shout out to Alice, shout out to Jeebus, shout out to JJ, everybody in the chat. Apparently asking where the fuck is Katie.
All right, well, we got people here, so I will run the intro. We'll get started. If you guys are ready.
Give me 1 sec.
Actually, yeah, let me go grab one beer real quick too, just so I don't have to get up during.
Roger that.
I was gonna say, Matt, completely up to you, but like I don't know if you want to like remove the banner like while we do the intro so it doesn't show during the intro video.
Did it show last time?
Yeah, it did. So we actually have to remove it.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then play the video and then just go back to it.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Do you want me to like run the stream like you suggested last week, or?
I mean, that's fine. If you wanna handle the technical aspects, go right ahead. Like I know how to do it, so that's all.
No, yeah. I mean,
all that matters is when you're not here, I can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well then,
Apron Bun says wieners.
Kyle's here, so
Kyle's here.
Run that intro, Vince.
All right, ready or not? Here we go.
No, I listen to it all the time. I tell all my friends to smack it raw.
Following podcast contains mature content. The views and opinions expressed by the host are not necessarily those of the host. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to the Smack and Raw podcast, the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub, where carrying the load of 20 men isn't something that only happens after a gangbang. Just ask Drew McIntyre. I am your host, the patron saint of podcasting, the Warden Matt Ritter, and I am here with my co-hosts this evening. Of course, Daddy Delgado, the Sultan of Spitter Swallow, up one in the race for Pornhub Poppy, and my friend Vince. How are you today?
That is so, Matt, and I'm once again in the lead, as I should be. I am the one true Pornhub Poppy, and the gore is not a spear.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why is it every time we do a show,
yes,
and I introduce you, you have to have like a paragraph before I can introduce our guest? Because poor Brett is sitting here just waiting to be introduced, and you always go on like a mini little thing before I get to introduce them. So, ladies and gentlemen, one half of the Brainbuster Boys podcast. It is Brett with 2 T's.
2 T's. What up? Pleasure to be here, Vince. Nice to meet you. I just realized we've got the same microphone, I think. It appears.
Yes, Blue Yeti.
Yeah, Pornhub Poppy in the house. I love that name.
I love it. I love it. This is the first time I get to collab with Brett. This is going to be fun. I'm excited. We're already wearing the same mic, so that's how you know we're gonna have great chemistry.
We're in good shape. We're in good shape, baby. Yeah, I'm excited. Let's have some fun.
Good night, JJ. Have fun at your staff meeting tomorrow, and thanks for popping in to say hi. Brett, I talked to you along the week, and I want to put your show over, which is part of the reason why you're here. Because, listen, the Brainbuster Boys podcast is like no other show I have ever listened to. There is a on again, off again running narrative that takes place through the show. And then while that is going on, there is also an AEW recap that happens. It is the last episode I felt like I was on an acid trip listening to, but it was absolutely fantastic. Like, I think the way I described to you was I felt like Bill and Ted meets Ready to Rumble.
Yep. And Bo, my partner, he, kind of writes the most, if not all the scripts and kind of steers that narrative. Like, he's like, you hit the nail right on the head there. That's kind of, I know part of what he was going for, especially with the Bill and Ted side. But yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun. The narrative side of things kind of just happened because Bo, like, our show started, like, I'm a huge fucking mark, love wrestling. Bo does not or didn't. And like, he's a good friend. He's fucking hilarious. We'd always talked about like doing something together. And I'm like, well, would you want to try doing a wrestling podcast and watching AEW every week? And he's like, fuck it. Yeah, why not? So kind of the original intent was like teacher and student almost, and almost like educational to a degree. And then he like graduated with a grad degree in creative writing. And it started as us being employed by Turner, which AEW was on TNT initially. And it just really spun into cults in the woods and us getting possessed. And then we worked for WWE. And now we're time traveling and stopping David Lynch from ruining our show. So, yeah, it's pretty insane.
Is somebody getting pegged in somebody's house? I swear I heard, it did not sound pleasant. Somewhere in the back.
Could be my roommate downstairs playing video games, but I don't know.
That might be. No, dude, it's really, like I said, it's really cool. And you were talking, I actually started going back because you gave me a list of like the essential plot point episodes. So I was listening. Yeah. So I've been listening to that to kind of get caught up on the narrative that I've missed. But I was hooked after listening to that last episode because you guys did a break from the narrative stuff.
Yeah, like
now you're just getting back into it.
Like 10-month break, actually, because it was a huge part. So November would be 2 years for us. So started like end of 2020. And yeah, it started episode 7. And then pretty much from there to like 43, it was mostly narrative the whole time, save a handful of episodes. But it was a lot of fucking work. And, we're working with a lot of different people and characters and writing scripts and coordinating, recording at the same time. And then editing would take 6 hours, sometimes more. So we're like, let's fucking pull back a little bit and just kind of take it easy. And we wanted to break away from like just being an AEW recap show. So we started doing more interviews, and like we had Tim on to do like an AEW versus WWE like fantasy booking. We started reviewing more old matches because we wanted to break out of the formula, but we always knew the narrative was coming back, and Bo had the idea of kind of making it about how he and I, or where he and I met. So it's even personal on that level as well. But yeah, I mean, it's taken on a life of its own, and it's so much fun, and Bo's just a genius to work with as well.
So you guys haven't tapped into them. Now is the perfect time because the narrative is picking back up. So it is going to be a hell of a crazy ride, or has so far. And as you said, the whole reason you guys, you didn't just want to be an AEW recap show. Now we have reformatted our show because I didn't want us to just be a WWE AEW recap show, which is the beauty of why you're here also, because as I like to refer to New Japan Pro Wrestling as fan fiction, as we go through our spits and swallows this week, I know a lot of what you watched has to do with the only uncensored Japanese climax you can pay for on TV, the G1 Classic. But before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, as you guys know, Young Kings Wrestling, good friends of the Smack and Raw podcast, have those awesome NWO-style Black Lives Matter t-shirts, and all of the money that is made from those shirts is put into a fund by TC of Young Kings Wrestling, and then it is donated to families who have lost loved ones due to police brutality, as well as other causes in line with that mindset, but is in no way, shape, or form associated with the Black Lives Matter organization. So if you want yourself a badass t-shirt and you want your money to go to a good cause to help out some people who could use it, please go buy those. They have them in black and pink for breast cancer awareness as well, black and white. And if you're special like me, you can get that black and red NWO style t-shirt. Vince has a habit of just disappearing to go get blowjobs and things, and then comes back midstream.
Nice.
Often quickies.
Mid-cum.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, We have the Pro Wrestling Pro Choice t-shirts that were created by Jizzy from the Deadass Girls. The design was done by her, and we're selling those. And money for that from our podcast, which you can get on our Teespring, goes to Women's Reproductive Rights Assistance Project. And Katie from the She Elite Showcase is also selling the same shirt. You can get that on her Teespring, and that money goes to Planned Parenthood. So if that is a cause in women's rights, is something you want to support, and again, you want a badass t-shirt of a female wrestler putting a member of Congress in a sharpshooter in front of the White House or Congress, go get that as well. It's fantastic. We'll get into news and rumors while Vince is jacking off. So one of the biggest things that people were talking about was apparently WWE reached out to an AEW talent about possibly making a return, and everyone's like, oh, that's contract tampering, and that's, this is so wrong, and somebody snitched. So he needs his laptop charger. That's where he went. Okay.
And his phone was dying. It's like, hey, plug your shit in, man.
Dude, listen, this is my struggle every week with this guy. I don't really care. Like, it's not contract tampering. Like, there's nothing stopping WWE from reaching out and being like, hey, when your contract ends, would you
interested?
Like to come back over here? Like, they're not getting them out of their contract. They're not telling them, like, again, I don't know. I don't know what the conversation was, but I'm assuming Triple H is smart enough not to do something that's going to get him in more legal trouble than Vince has already gotten them into.
What did I do?
Not you, Vince, this time,
okay.
Actually. Vince
apparently didn't charge anything before the stream.
So I forgot I took my laptop to work the last couple of days, and I didn't get it charged. Usually I have my laptop fully charged.
And you had to go steal the cord from your vibrator for your laptop. So now that's going to be dead when we get off the stream.
Yeah. Did you get a quick come in while you were gone?
No. I heard what Matt said. He's a, like, what's the word I'm looking for? He's pushing a narrative that isn't existing right now. I just forgot.
We push a lot of narratives on there. Like, we're not a narrative podcast, but we push a lot of narratives. One of which is Vince likes to watch porn with guys that look like me. That came from his girlfriend who has seen his porn history. So,
well, let me ask: do you control your narrative?
He's trying to control his narrative, but I'm running that bitch right now.
No, as on the show, on the podcast itself, probably not. That's probably a hard no.
I was just shooting on that dumb organization that, what was it, Strowman and EC3 and all them started up. But yeah, fuck. Yeah, back to what you were saying, the news and notes. Even I think that's like a non-story. Like you said, like, this isn't professional sports. There's nothing saying that you can't talk to, like, Triple H is friends with a lot of these guys now, like, developed legitimate bonds. Like, I don't see any problem with it. And yeah, I think it's dumb.
I agree. And I'm glad you mentioned that it's not professional sports, because something I want to get out of the way before we continue out with news and rumors and get into the show. I don't know if you saw in the chat, but Tim and I were having a discussion, a little debate back and forth about whether pro wrestling and sports entertainment are the same thing. And I say it's not, and Tim says it is. So I'm just going to, for Tim and for everyone, explain kind of my side of my thought on the process, which is essentially, as you said, it is not a professional sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling, in my estimation, is most akin to a reality TV show, a scripted reality TV show, where it's like The Challenge from MTV. It is actual athletics and fighting, but the outcomes are scripted. People are put in positions to make you want to cheer for them, make you want to see them win, so on and so forth. It's scripted reality TV. Sports entertainment is a drama that has wrestling in it, but it is not about the competition. New Japan is about the competition. It is about the championships and, forming alliances and all of these things to get to the top to win, climaxes and belts and all of these different things that they want to win. Best of the super dupers, whatever you're doing. That is what it is. It is a scripted, like I said, it's scripted reality television with, the outcomes predetermined. WWE, they make a TV show. They make a drama that just happens to have wrestling. People are getting run over. You're pulling guns on people. You're breaking into people's houses and beating up their parents, or walking on their couches with your shoes on. All of this stuff that then eventually leads to something happening in the ring. I guarantee you at New Japan Pro Wrestling, no one is coming out on a tractor and picking the ring up and flipping a man out of the ring or dumping him out of a bucket from a tractor. Like, these things are not going to happen. And that is, in my opinion, the difference between sports entertainment and wrestling. Wrestling is reality TV. Sports entertainment is a drama about wrestling.
Well, I guess one could argue that if that's your definition of sports entertainment, then WWE has always been sports entertainment. They just never dubbed themselves as such.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Vince dubbed it sports entertainment
up until that point. So, like, Attitude Era, that you're describing the Attitude Era too. You're describing like the new generation, your golden era. That's all WWE. That's just WWE wrestling, period. So I see what you're trying to say, but I can also see an argument to it's like it's still just pro wrestling. It's a different way of presenting it and telling it. It's a WWE way of presenting pro wrestling.
Now, I'm glad Tim asked this because this was part 2 of this. So NXT Black and Gold and AEW. Triple H's NXT Black and Gold found the perfect mix of both wrestling and sports entertainment. He found the secret sauce that made both things work very, very, very well. The issue with Black and Gold was it had the stigma of being a WWE product, so that turned off a lot of fans who had already turned against WWE, as well as the stigma of being a developmental brand. So people were like, why am I going to go watch developmental stuff that isn't going to matter when I go tune into Raw or SmackDown, which Vince made very clear was the case. Like, yeah, you can go watch this and get invested, but when they come up, they're mine and I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want with them, which is why NXT Black and Gold in Vince's eyes failed and he made the changes he made. AEW is trying to do that as well. They're trying to take the wrestling and sprinkle in the sports entertainment. Tony, in his coke-fueled frenzy, just can't find the right mix. So every week, he's like, all right, so I'm going to throw in more sports entertainment, and Jungle Boy's going to try and run over Christian with the car, and there's going to be a luchador dinosaur who's crushing people and all this stuff. He's like, shit, that didn't work. All right, so Daniel Garcia versus Daniel Bryan for an hour on TV. We'll give him that. And like, he's just throwing in, but he's like shaking the fucking sprinklers, and it's too much of everything. He can't find the right mix, so it's not fucking working.
That sounds right.
That's a good point. About right. Yeah. I agree. I mostly agree with you though. Like, I think New Japan, AEW trying to, like, you're leading with the wrestling, and then there is some ancillary drama, whereas WWE leads with the drama, and then the wrestling is kind of ancillary. Like, I go to New Japan, you don't see anyone cut promos in the ring except the winner of the main event is typically the only person that talks. You don't see backstage promos. It's just match, boom, match, boom, match, boom. And frankly, that's what I love right now. Like, I love the wrestling. And over the past few years, I've grown to truly love the wrestling and the art of the wrestling. And when a long-term story does work, and New Japan does it better than anyone, like, I fucking sit in my bed at 10 a.m. on a Sunday crying, watching like a culmination of Naito beating Okada in the Tokyo Dome after 6 years. Because it meant something. It made me feel. But there's still that drama, but it's all based on the wrestling.
Correct.
Yeah.
Whereas WWE is the drama featuring the wrestling, not based on the wrestling.
Yes, the drama builds to the wrestling. The wrestling is almost like the climax, so to speak. But it's not what you're not going to the dance for that.
And that's what I love. See, I'm in it for the drama. I want to see people break into people's houses and fuck each other's wives and beat up each other's dads.
Fuck
and
dead bodies. And
chop off people, try to chop off wrestlers. Yep,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Like, that's what I'm in it for. And then
Matt likes the stories leading up to the actual porn.
Yeah. But Black and Gold helped me. Black and Gold helped me appreciate the wrestling as well, because they had fantastic wrestling mixed in with that stuff.
Fucking good, man. I miss it. Like, so when I stopped watching WWE main roster weekly, like, it's after SummerSlam 18, I would still dabble, but I did not stop watching Black and Gold. Like, I was a person, I stuck with it because I loved it. And it was mostly wrestling based. And like you said, he did have a great mix, and it was so good. And like, I think AEW, like in the first year, did that very well. And then it's gotten a little fucky since then. And this comes from a huge AEW fan. And granted, Tim and I talked today 30 minutes shitting on AEW. So it's like anyone who's going to give us shit for being marks, like we still will call out what sucks. And I told him, like, with all, like, G1 just finished, Stardom's having a tournament, Noah's having a tournament, a lot of shit to watch, but I'm like excited to watch WWE for the first time in a long time.
Exactly.
And like what I've been hearing and seeing has all been great. And it's like, I know I'm going to love this. And this is what I've been waiting for. So yeah, I'm pretty fired up to get back into it.
Well, let's get into it. But first, I'll bang out the rest of the news and rumors. Brandy Rhodes was reported at the PC and wasn't just visiting. Apparently, she was getting ready to possibly do some stuff. A lot of people are listen. Don't give her a mic, but I enjoy looking at Brandy Rhodes on TV. Like, I'm not gonna be mad if she shows up on TV. Like, if she's in the Maurice role, cool. If she actually wants to train and learn how to wrestle and get on the level of some of the women on the main roster, also cool. Like, let her go out and do that. Like, she is a great heel and she draws heat. So.
But yeah, keep the mic out of her hand. By God. Did you watch any of that Roads to the Top shit?
I watched one episode.
So I watched a couple episodes.
Like, she was just repulsive on that. Like, it made me dislike her that much more. And I wasn't ever like anti-Brandy, but that kind of made me anti-Brandy. I don't know. There's something about her.
I also like looking at her. So I checked out a shot of Brandy that she had on YouTube. So that was actually kind of fun.
Remember when she was Eden Styles in WWE's the ring announcer was like, fuck, yeah.
That makes me feel old.
But that's when she was pure and wholesome.
So Cody corrupted her with his neck tattoo. Chris Statlander, unfortunately injured. I think we talked about it. Looks like it is a knee injury.
Yeah.
6 to 8 months, I think.
Yeah, so that sucks because she was on that push for main roster or main event
and
championship.
She'd been killing it too. Like, they finally were presenting her as a beast, a bad bitch that could throw people around, and it's a shame because that women's division, the talent is there, but the booking hasn't been there. And I thought what they'd been doing with all that and Stokely had been pretty good. It's always inconsistent. But I was excited for her rise and kind of thought she was going to turn heel, which I thought would have been perfect. But it's a shame because she was just out for like 8 to 10 months. So, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, she was supposed to get the title shot at All Out, as Bakley said in the chat. And then Katie torn ACL lateral meniscus. So she Tegan Knoxed herself. Poor girl.
Jesus.
Last but not least, NXT UK, which we will be talking about on this show, spoiled their own tournament on Wednesday, and then it was announced that NXT Europe is coming, which means that is the death, essentially, of NXT UK. We know that because 75% of the roster got released.
Yeah.
Like Mark Andrews, Flash Morgan Webster, Zaya Brookside, Primate, all these guys, Eddie Dennis, all of these.
Did you say Flash Morgan Webster?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I said 5 people, and that was one of them.
I think it was the second.
Yes. Danny Luna, the entirety of that faction, all of these people got released. So more than likely, the hope is, because NXT UK has essentially already been NXT Europe. Like, Ilya Dragunov was from Russia, Walter was from Austria, Killer Kelly was from Portugal, Mako Satomura is there.
8 kids from like Spain, right?
Yeah. Hopefully it's a rebranding, and once it is rebranded and launched in 2023, we'll see a lot of these faces come back. I'd have to assume so, because they pretty much pillaged all of the notable talent in Europe and brought them over anyway. So yeah, Trent Seven got released as well, but Tyler Bate did not. And like I said, we'll get into that. But so a lot of NXT UK releases, which is the first time in the list of releases that we have seen NXT UK talent let go. Normally they've been safe. So
shit.
All right. Let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the part of the show where we spit or swallow the week in wrestling. And if you are in the chat, please feel free to post your spits and swallows along with us in the chat. We will get them up down there on the banner. Brett, spit or swallow?
Swallow. I'm swallowing whole the G1 Climax final. I mean, I got to start it with some fan fiction. You knew I had to. I'm wearing the fucking shirt. It's like kind of how our relationship started over the chat, I think. But for real, though, I thought the match between us. Well, so I'll step back. Their match at Wrestle Kingdom this year was my match of the year until this match, which is now my match of the year. And Tim and I talked about it today earlier as well. Like, it was just one of those where they take you on a ride, and those last 5 minutes, it's just I don't know what the fuck is going on. Counter after strike after insanity. Out of breath, needed a cigarette. Like, it was just incredible. And I picked Osprey and Okada as the finalists before the tournament. I did pick Osprey to win, but understandably Okada, since Ibushi got hurt last year during it and he could kind of get his legit win. Him versus Jay White is a ready-made feud. Okada just dropped the title to him. And what I loved especially, I don't know, you guys probably didn't see it, at least Ritter, I'm sure did it, but Osprey is a heel, but the crowd got behind him and he played the underdog, and they haven't been able to make noise with their mouths, but by God, they were doing it this match so much. And Osprey's going to get his moment, and it's going to be pretty awesome. Like, that's why, New Japan with Naito, with others, like, they delay that gratification so much. And, you hate it in the moment, but I know whenever Osprey beats Okada for the title, probably next year, it's going to mean that much more. But yeah, Meltzer gave it 5 3/4 stars. I don't go above 5. I do term scale breakers. That's what, when he first went like 6, we started calling that scale breakers. So it's a scale breaker to me. But yeah, 5 stars, match of the year. Fucking loved it. Swallow it whole. 10 loads.
All right. So Katsukuchi climaxed is what you're telling me.
That's right. Okay, yeah, I was wondering what his name was going to be. Katsukuchi.
It's Katsukuchi Uganda.
Okay, yeah, you've got them all. You've got a bunch of them, don't you?
So, Osprey gets his name because he's part of Great Okan's faction. Great Okan is the greatest thing in New Japan.
Yep.
So Katsukuchi climax. Good to know. I will note that.
Yeah.
Vince, spit or swallow?
I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm just gonna go straight into it.
Oh boy.
I'm as much as it's gonna be a bittersweet, but I'm gonna swallow the street fight between Santos Escobar and Tony D'Angelo. They had multiple title matches, but this had the most stakes of it all. Honestly, when you saw the entrances with Legado and Santos, they were like the most over act on the whole fucking night. From top to bottom, it was just the best match on the card for me, and probably the best match the entire week of wrestling. I just enjoyed it the most. Unfortunately, like I said, bittersweet. I'm spitting the fact that Santos is gone from NXT, but let me dive in a little bit more to it. I'm gonna spit the fact that they censored the fan chants because they're like, holy shit, and they kept like censoring it. I thought that was stupid. The closing moments of the match, specifically with like they both eyeballing the brass knucks and the crowbar into the finish. Thought the finish was fantastic. And my only qualms about the whole match is that at the end, I kind of wish they gave Legado and Santos a little bit more time to soak that all in before they cut to a cutaway between the women's tag champions and Indy Hartwell. I kind of wish they gave that just a few more seconds.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but yeah, that's my first swallow of the week is the match. The match
if you couldn't tell, I was getting pumped to talk about this.
Literally pumped.
Listen, Santos a while ago wrote a check that his ass couldn't cash and did it again here on Wednesday. See, when you work for the Don, it doesn't matter if you're in the hospital, fuck you, pay me. If you lose a match, doesn't matter. Fuck you. Pay me. He had responsibilities. And when he could no longer fulfill his responsibilities, what did the Don have to do? He had to light a match and burn the joint down. And that is what he did to Legado del Fantasma. Santos is gone. The Don is victorious. Cruz, Elektra, Wild, all now part of the family. The legacy of Legado is dead and finished at the hands of the one and only Don of NXT, Tony D. So I agree with you, Vince. I agree. It is a huge swallow.
Can we take a second and acknowledge how over Legado as a act was? Because like they're coming out and they're chanting Legado, and it's just story wise. I get why things happen, and whatever. It's whatever. Like I'm not a sore loser. That I'm putting that out there right now, but I'm excited to see what happens with Santos. I think at some point Legado will end up being called up with Santos, and Tony D is going to have a different family because I don't think it'll be a long-term family like addition. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to just acknowledge how over Santos was as a babyface that match, how over the act was, how the entrance, everything, fantastic, beautiful storytelling.
I'll give Santos his due. Like, yeah, absolutely, I agree. Super over. I mean, the crowd loved when he was a cheap shot artist and attacked Tony before the match even started and still lost. They were all about the entrance. They absolutely loved it, and they loved him. And he is a fantastic wrestler. I'm not going to take anything away. He's no Don of NXT because you can't beat him, but fantastic fucking wrestler. So shout out to Santos. Hopefully we see him on the main roster. There are some good things to come for him up there.
I didn't watch it because I don't currently watch NXT, but I might now. And Santos, that's interesting because when I watched, he wasn't a babyface, so I'm interested to see that reaction. Shout out to King Cuerno, which is what his character was on Lucha Underground, because that's where I first knew him, and he's the fucking man.
Like Cuervo, like Jose Cuervo?
Cuerno, King Cuerno. He wore like fucking deer horns to the ring. He was tight.
Horn.
And he was masked. He was masked as well. I don't know why, because he's so beautiful.
Well, he was masked when he first came to NXT too, and then he got rid of the mask and did the whole thing. But he wasn't really a babyface. He just kind of got really over with the crowd.
He was a babyface by default based on the story.
But I like that.
I disagree.
I like
Tony was clearly the babyface in that entire story, and that NXT crowd was all fucked up. My first swallow over on Monday Night Raw is going to be the Sexecutioners promo. We got Rhea saying that she proved she was the Poppy of Sub Mysterio. Finn saying the Mysterios have been sexecuted, and that's why they aren't here this week. Damian saying that Edge ain't here, and he's not scared of Edge. Next week, Edge's career gets sexecuted in his hometown. Ray is here, shows up, cleans house, but won't hit Rhea because he doesn't have the balls. Listen, I need someone to hit Rhea Ripley. I need that intergender wrestling. I need it to happen because there's only so many times she can stand in the way of progress before somebody punches her in the mouth or drop kicks her or something. If they're not going to bring in Aaliyah to fight Rhea can handle her own against men. I have no doubt about that.
For sure.
Rhea can do this shit. So give me Rhea Ripley versus Rey Mysterio. Rhea Ripley versus whoever they're feuding with. Let her get involved in the men's division. Let her compete with the men.
I will spit the fact that they keep cock teasing us Rhea with one of the Mysterios in the match. This week it was Rey, and it's like they keep doing that. And I will say I'm spitting that because I don't appreciate the cock tease.
Maybe we'll get it against Sub Mysterio. Like
maybe with Triple H, you will get some intergender.
God, I hope so.
I would I love Rhea Ripley. Like, she's awesome, and I've enjoyed from afar watching her torment Sub Mysterio, as I'm picking up. But yeah, I think that would be awesome to see. And you're right, she could she would destroy Rey Mysterio like in a real fight. Like, she's a fucking tank, dude. Yeah, I love it.
Well, he's definitely not a dom. He's been getting that ass whooped every week.
No.
So Young Kings Wrestling gifted us the term Sub Mysterio because he is not a dom.
I like it.
Brett, spit or swallow?
I guess I'll spit this time because I'm going to probably be swallowing a lot. I'm going to spit the fact that I guess at All Out, we're going to see FTR and Wardlow against Jay Lethal, Sanjay Butt, and Satnam Singh. We got the hottest act in the company who's been ranked number 1 for 5 months, holding 3 championships that they're not really doing anything with. And a guy who was one of the hottest acts in the company 2 months ago against these 3 clowns who I like. Don't get me wrong. I like what Sanjay, Jay Lethal, and them are doing. It's good. But not with these 3. And FTR was not on the last pay-per-view. I was just like shocked to hear like, that's what we're doing now. So yeah, spit all over that shit.
I'm with you there, Brett. Because it's like... Ever since, like, I was excited that Swerve and Our Glory got the tag titles. However, they've been relegated to like Rampage. They've been like
Rampage only.
Yeah, exactly. Like right now, they're gonna have a match. They already happened.
I guess Private Party, right?
Against Private Party, they're the 5th ranked tag team, and this just goes to show the fact that the
rankings are stupid.
They don't mean shit. Okay, forget about FTR. Why isn't the Acclaim in that conversation as well? Because they're probably the most hottest or over acts in AEW right now. One of, if not the of. They're the main reason I tune into AEW. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, that's the only reason.
Okay, it's interesting. So I did not like the Acclaimed initially. I liked Bowens a lot, but Caster's raps just took a while to grow on me, and we used to always just call him rapper Russell Wilson because he just looks a lot like Russell Wilson. But yeah, they are now over. I was at Dynamite a few weeks ago whenever the dumpster match was, and the crowd was eating it up. Like, and the Ass Boys too. Got to give them a lot of credit. Like, those guys were there every week when they were in the pandemic and they just have the wrestlers out there. Like, they were front row clowning, like being a part of the show, paying their dues. Now they're getting television time and they've earned it. They deserve it. And they just fucking squash the Varsity Blondes in 30 seconds and they turn on their dad. And I love it. Not to go on a side track about the Ass Boys there, but yeah, I dig it.
Well, no, Vince brought it up, so we'll talk about it because I'm spitting Wardlow and all the stuff that you talked about, and then I'm also swallowing the Gun Club destroying the Varsity Blondes in seconds, and then turning on Bipolar Billy, who has gone back and forth between I love my kids and you guys suck and I love you, and they got sick of the shit, so they joined up.
Claimed her now, my kids.
Exactly. They joined up with Stokely. They whooped their dad's ass. The Acclaim come out, make the save. As the title of the show for this week is, we get a scissor party. Daddy ass gets scissored hard in the middle of the ring. I was all for that. So
yeah, that was one of my swallows I had as well. Like the whole hashtag scissor party. I fucking love it, man. Like, Billy Gunn has more chemistry with the Acclaim than he has with his own sons.
For sure. I think it's going to be so much fun to see.
Yeah, I can't wait. I like it, and I just miss Bowens just saying "scissor me, daddy ass." It's like the highlight of my week.
And it was one of the highlights of my week. It was fun when they were all together and like they'd have the Ass Boys like fuck up and say the wrong city, and then Owens would do it right. Like that was all that was such good shit.
Good shit.
But yeah, you're right. The Acclaimed are hot as fire right now, and I don't know if they've ever had a pay-per-view match.
Let's change that.
Not off the top of my head, but
I'm down. Other than maybe like a battle royal or something like that, but.
I'm also not a fan of the fact that they're pretending that the Pinnacle exists when MJF was the Pinnacle. And they're like, oh, we're the Pinnacle, but the guy who created the faction isn't here. Like,
I got a small kick out of it, but yeah, I agree. Like, it at least reminded us that, hey, these 3 were together once upon a time.
I forgot that was the case.
So, like, I think that it was at least that, because I'm a huge fan myself. Like, I'd kind of forgotten it. So I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, the Pinnacle, that happened. But, yeah.
Vince, would you like that to be your swallow, or do you want to give me another one?
No, let me circle on back to good old NXT because we're talking
All right,
about
Vince,
hot.
spit or swallow.
I am gonna swallow the entire actually, yeah, I'm going back to Raw. The entire segment between Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre.
Ooh.
I love Drew coming out and saying that he carried the load of 20 men, which was originally going to be the title of the episode. Kevin Owens coming out with that energy, talking about he wants to be the prize fighter, their battle back and forth, the match itself, everything Drew and KO. Fucking fantastic. Loved it.
I agree. Drew basically says he kind of like how Randy Orton threw his back out for carrying that piece of trash, Matt Riddle. Drew threw his back out for carrying the load of 20 men. KO gave us a Owen Hart quote, "Enough is enough and it's time for a change."
Love it.
Gotta love that.
He's not a nugget. He is not a nugget.
He is not a nugget. He's a Blackheart, damn it.
Damn it. Soul Survivor. Woo!
And he says he's coming for all the belts and he doesn't care who the champ is, which will lead into something that we talk about when we get to SmackDown. But also Drew just like snapping because he got sick of Karrion Kross saying, "Oh, you're the chosen one." He's like, "I was the chosen one 20 fucking years ago and got fired, damn it. Came back and I'm better than ever." Like, both of them just giving, like, that whole promo segment was fantastic.
Still haven't seen it. Definitely going to watch it. I love both guys. Kevin Owens is my favorite WWE wrestler. So again, I just haven't had the fucking time.
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm hearing great things.
I will say this, Brett. Like right now, the vibe that I'm getting from Raw feels like NXT Black and Gold, but if it was 3 hours with main roster talent, that's the best way I can describe Raw. It's probably like I love it.
Get to see some of, and I'll tell you the circumstances, the Walter, because I still refuse to call him Gunther, and Nakamura match, because I freelance work Bengals games here. First preseason game was last week, working the press box, and the guy I sit next to is a big wrestling fan, and he had SmackDown up on his phone, which David Lynch would not like us to watch it on our fucking telephone. But I got to see a good chunk of that, and it was awesome. It's everything I want in wrestling, and I love both of those guys. So, again, I'm excited. I need to talk to Bishop because I feel like he and I can maybe have an olive branch over all this. So
I still have no idea who the fuck Bishop is.
I've heard he makes
terrible the X-Men?
He makes terrible wrestling takes.
Yeah, something like that. I'm swallowing So there was a brawl between Theory and Dolph after some of their bullshit. But if you paid really close attention, there was a door behind them and there was a hand in the door. Now, I'm going to assume it was Dexter Lumis, which is the other part of my swallow, is swallowing Lumis jumping the barricade during the first ever AJ Lashley match and the match of itself. But just having Dexter Lumis back because I fucking love Dexter Lumis. But what I do love is one of my favorite parts of when The Fiend was around and the pandemic, post-pandemic era was the little Easter eggs that would happen in the back that you paid really close attention to, where you'd see the puppets and know that Bray was in the building, stuff like that. And this hand poking out of the doorway gave me a little hope that maybe, because it had a glove on, it was probably Dexter, but maybe it was Bray. Maybe they're doing background small, because now I'm like focused in. Now I'm looking like, is there a puppet somewhere? Is there a mask? Who was
ever
that
since
hand?
last week?
Like, now they fucking got me. So now I'm checking because I would love for the Fiend to come back. I love me some Bray Wyatt. There have been a lot of talks and rumors. And listen, dirt sheets, if any of you are listening to this and you hear that he is coming back, do not fucking report it because I want to be genuinely surprised. I do not want to hear people fucking talking about it. I do not want it spoiled. I just want him to show up on Raw and feel like a child again.
Yeah.
And also, as Jesus said, with Dexter being back, Indy Hartwell getting the index message, the note, as we saw Blair Davenport show up on NXT. So everything index, Dexter Lumis, and surprise Easter eggs in the background. Big swallow for me this week.
I'm all for it, for sure. Okay,
Right,
I'll go
you
back
swallow.
to I'll go back to some swallowing, and this was exactly a week ago, but I watched it on Saturday. But Impact Emergence. I don't think Ritter watches. I don't know about you, Vince.
I haven't watched Impact.
So
in a
no, that's
minute.
fine. I get it. I never really watched much of it until this year, and I've been hooked. And yeah, the presentation is not good. Like it's such a small building. It looks small, but man, the wrestling has been awesome. I've been to two of their shows, like not the pay-per-views, but like the Impact Plus special events.
Mhm.
You're so close. Like I was starting all the cheers. It was
I was
awesome.
this close to going to the Impact show that was going to be here in Chicago.
Oh yeah, that was the one. Like that was Emergence, the one I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah, I was like this close to going,
Yeah. They're
but
so fun, man. I went to one in Louisville in March, and then
Mhm.
there was one up here in Newport, Kentucky, Cincinnati in May.
right.
And they were both so much fun.
Oh,
Because
for
again,
sure.
it's so small. It's like I'm a huge Jay White fan. It's like he's 10 feet from me. Tomohiro Ishii, I'm sure you got a name for him. One of my
Tomohiro Itchy.
one of my 5 favorite wrestlers in the world. Got to see him main event against Josh Alexander. Fucking awesome. But I digress. Impact for me has been killing it this year. I've never really cared about him until this year,
Yes.
but it's really good wrestling and even the drama. Like a lot of their backstage shit is almost shot like Lucha Underground at times. Like it almost feels a little like movie-ish at times. Not like the interviews, but like the shit with Decay and other stuff. But yeah, I'll swallow Impact whole this year. Love Josh Alexander. He and Alex Shelley had an awesome match. Bandito and Ray Horace. I'll swallow Mike Bailey all day, every day. But yeah, Impact. Killing it, baby.
Yeah, I keep hearing great things from Impact, especially when Powerbomb Jutsu comes onto the show and they talk about Impact.
Yeah, they're killing it. Yeah.
No, I mean I hear nothing but good things. Where did they even show their what? I don't even know.
Access
Access
TV.
TV. Yeah.
And if
Or
I
Impact
don't,
Plus.
Yeah, my buddy got him. Like I share subscriptions with so many people, so he got Impact Plus, and they put him up like right away after it happens as well.
Okay, interesting. So they don't stream on Twitch anymore.
No.
I have to do this because you said his name. So every time Tomohiro Itchy is mentioned, I go, the Itchy and Scratchy Show. So now I've done that, and now
There
we
we
can move
go.
on.
There we go.
Vince, spit or swallow.
Spit or swallow. I'm gonna go back to Heatwave like I said I was going to. I'm gonna swallow the match of Giovanni Vinci and Carmelo Hayes, but I'm spitting the results. The match was fantastic. I thought it was a great way to open up Heatwave. I love Giovanni Vinci. He's my favorite Italian in pro wrestling right now. The only like good Italian in pro wrestling right now. Unless Nunzio comes out of retirement, then Nunzio might be
the
number
FBI,
one.
baby.
But let it.
I agree. That was a fantastic match. There's no point in having Carmelo Hayes lose at this point, though. Vinci is still kind of rebuilding his character and everything like that. He's going to be on the come up. He'll get there. Hayes is on fire, and he's putting on banger matches. So I agree with you, Vince, on everything but the slander that came there at the end that got you muted. But I'll let you finish your point as long as it doesn't denigrate
I don't
the
know
Don
what
of
you're
NXT.
Who's
clearly better than
about
Santos Escobar.
Who are we talking? Who's talking about the Don? I'm talking about Giovanni Vinci, the best Italian wrestler in all of pro wrestling right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, fantastic.
If you didn't see it, it was a banger of a match. I'm going to spit the Miz and Ciampa. I am not like, I understand why they're doing it, but I am not a fan of this pairing. My hope is, and I know I'm not the only one to have this thought, but my hope is that eventually Johnny Gargano comes back and gets Ciampa away from the Miz. They reform DIY, and then at some point, Sammy and KO take the belts off the Usos, and we get DIY versus Sammy and KO. That is what I want to see. That is what I am hoping for. But right now, I am spitting that pairing. It's not doing it for me. And Ali and Cedric Alexander are losing to them. Like,
well, to follow that up, ironically enough, I'm actually swallowing the pairing of Ciampa and Miz because I am actually warming up to it when they were both like on the apron and they're both like clapping and like beating it to each other.
Why are you like this?
I don't know why, but I start to like it. Ciampa wears neon green fantastically. It really brings out his beard and his eyes.
I'll give him that. He really does.
He's rocking the neon green, and I don't think he would have ever worn neon green if it wasn't for the Miz pairing.
Watching real quick, SummerSlam, which again I hadn't seen WWE in a minute, and watching Ciampa come out with the Miz. One, I didn't know that was a thing, and I'm like, what the fuck? But I'm like, two, god damn, he looks good in that gear.
Yeah, I agree. I concur. I don't think it's going to be a pairing that's going to last too long. I think it's just like a temporary pairing. But for the moment, I'm enjoying it for what it is. It's like one of those weird guilty pleasures that you're enjoying for some reason, even though other people may hate it. But also, never thought about it, even though it should have been. Ali and Cedric should be a tag team. They dubbed themselves the Heart and Soul of 205 Live. Just call them Heart and Soul. Make them a tag team. Build up your tag team. So
Are you going to make Cedric the soul part of that?
that's what they call themselves. Cedric referred to himself as the soul.
First D'Lo,
Ali.
now Cedric's the soul because he's black. Vince, come on now, you're better than that.
Unreal.
You're better than that.
It's what they said on 205 Live. Were you not watching?
I was not watching 205 Live. You are correct.
Most exciting 1 hour of wrestling.
There's a whole reason why 205 Live doesn't exist anymore.
Well, to be fair, when I started podcasting, I had to recap the 1 hour of NXT and the 1 hour of 205 Live. So I was watching.
That is true.
Yeah. So
I think we're on Brett. Brett, spit or swallow.
I think it's you, right?
Well, no, because my whole thing was Ciampa Miz.
Oh,
and
okay.
I spit it. And
Okay.
Vince is like, I want to swallow terrible.
Okay.
The only thing I swallow about the Miz is Maurice. Like, the only reason I'm okay with him being on my TV is Maurice.
Gosh.
yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Like, he's fantastic at what he does, and he's fine as a singles guy, but I am so tired of Miz TV and now pairing Ciampa with him because Ciampa could be doing so much more and so much better without him. But Brett, spit or swallow?
I'm going to do a spit and swallow here. Back to AEW. I'm going to spit the fact that CM Punk threw Hangman under the bus when he wasn't there, regardless of if this is a work or not, which I don't think it is. That was bullshit. That had nothing to do with the show. You're here to promote your match with Moxley. That was weak. And if it's all because of something he said about Colt Cabana, it's even weaker. Go ahead.
Well, I will say, Brett, that I'm actually going to swallow the entirety of Philip Karen Punk's promo because I love the toxic energy. I love like the whole let me speak to your manager energy that he brought to the table. I just love drama. I just love the cheeseman. I love all this shit. I love everything blowing up on live television. This shit just felt like a clusterfuck. It felt like it shouldn't have been long. It made me feel uncomfortable watching it, but it just made me want to watch it that much more. I'm here for the fucking mess of it all.
I'm swallowing everything after the Hangman reference. So that was I spit on that, but I'm swallowing. Like, I thought the exchanges between the two were fucking awesome. And it did feel like these guys really do hate each other. I don't know. I'm so turned off on Punk right now, and that I was such a big Punk guy. Like, watching that Money in the Bank 2011 match live is like one of my favorite memories as a wrestling fan, and like loved when he came back. Was mostly enjoying his matches, but the Hangman match when he had those two botches really like took me out of it. And then yes, he got hurt. We all want and need heel Punk, but I didn't like the Hangman shit, but yeah, everything and I'm a huge Moxley guy. I'm from Cincy. He's a Cincy guy.
Yeah,
he's the man. I think the match is going to be amazing. I hope that whatever happens next week, it's some sort of fuck finish, and they do it again. It has to happen at the pay-per-view, unless it's I guess MJF. But even that,
either that or they signed John Cena.
Yeah.
So here's where I'm at. I feel like I'm one of the few people left that is still a CM Punk fan. The more people I hear and talk to and see, they're like,
Me
I
too.
used to be a CM Punk fan. I used to be a CM
I mean,
Punk.
I still
call
am. I was
just
just
called him Phil Karen,
Yeah.
Vince.
Yeah.
Also, I too am a slut for drama. I loved all of this. I
Yeah.
don't care if it's real or not. My thing is, like, I know
Oh my
Tim
God.
was torn because Tim loves Mox and Punk's from Chicago and he didn't know where to go. I love messy drama. I'm a slut for drama, just like Vince. And also, everything that Punk said, Eddie Kingston is the third best Eddie I've ever been in the ring with. He's the second best Kingston I've ever shared a locker room with.
Fantastic.
It was
Moxley,
good. Yeah.
Moxley is the third best guy in his own group, and that's a reoccurring theme in his career.
Fucking
All of that
spicy.
was fantastic. Mox coming back and saying, you think you're the best wrestler here, you're not even the best wrestler in catering most of the time.
Yeah. That was awesome.
I'm the heart and soul. You can be the heart and soul. I'll be the dollars and cents, which is why I posted that picture of CM Punk laying on a pile of money
That
with
should
an
be the
M&M
new
that he jizzed
thumbnail.
all over.
That
The cum
shit's
covered
hilarious.
Yeah, make it the thumbnail, Vince. You've got it. Take it. Make it the thumbnail. 100%. I loved all of this. And I don't care if people backstage really hate CM Punk. I don't care if he really is an asshole in real life. All I care about is that he's entertaining me on a weekly basis, and he absolutely is.
I will say this before we move on. I am completely okay with him throwing Hangman Page under the bus, even though he wasn't in attendance, because he has refused time and time again to not wrestle in chaps, which we all know are assless. And I want assless chaps, Hangman Adam Page. So for that, I am gonna be canceling Hangman Adam Page until he consistently wrestles in a G-string or thong and chaps.
I mean, I can't disagree with you.
That's what I want.
right there.
And then live up to the name Hangman. I want it to hang when
We
you
know
end
we know he's hung.
I don't know.
Everyone
I don't
knows
know. I'm
that.
starting to doubt it.
Oh,
Because he
come
don't show
on.
it. He don't show it, man.
Come on.
Nobody that can walk out on national TV in butterfly jeans doesn't have a huge dick. I will tell you that right now.
For sure.
Plain and simple. Vince, spit or swallow?
I am gonna go ahead and let me circle back to Raw. Let me just finish up Raw and just say I'm gonna swallow the Lashley versus Styles U.S. Championship match, continuing to build up the prestige and the integrity of the U.S. Championship. I thought the match was fantastic. I thought it was great. Right person won. They're really building up Lashley and that U.S. title, so I'm swallowing that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great match. It had Dexter Lumis, and anything you put Dexter Lumis in is automatically fantastic. I am very curious as to who he's stalking, who he's trying to fuck, who he wants to cuddle to death. Very interested in this whole storyline. I have to believe it's AJ because it keeps happening around AJ, but like, you never know. So I need to know. But the match itself was fantastic, and it's unbelievable that it was the first time
Yeah,
we had ever seen.
You said that earlier. I
one-on-one.
was surprised because they were both in TNA together, right? At least for a period.
I believe so.
I know AJ went to New Japan in like 2014, but yeah, I was surprised about that as well. And again, I'll probably watch it at some point.
I'll get caught up with the group with some real quick minor spits and swallows to finish out Monday Night Raw. First off, side note, we did have the first round of the women's tag team tournament. Alexa Bliss and Asuka defeated Doudrop and Nikki. Bianca at ringside, and there was all stuff with Bayley and Kai Sky. I have made my thoughts on the pairing of Alexa Bliss and Asuka very clear. Not a huge fan of that pairing. That doesn't make sense to me. Neither here nor there. It was a good match, and I'm excited for this tournament. We'll get into that. But I'm swallowing Ernie Jr., the father of both Elrod, Ezekiel, and Elias, threatening KO for what he did to Ezekiel as the whole family hung out in the hospital room with poor Ezekiel in the hospital bed. And I'm spitting the fact that Matt Riddle did not retire like he should have, like Seth told him he should have, like Seth expected him to, and I did too. Because, listen, you don't have, as Seth said this, Seth was spitting fire. You don't have many functioning brain cells left, Riddle. And the more you come out here, the more Seth is going to stomp those out. Eventually, you're just going to be a vegetable. So retire now while you still have 1 or 2 functioning brain cells left. And maybe change your last name. That'd be fantastic too.
What if he start calling himself Matt again?
I mean, there's lots of Matts out there. I don't give a fuck about that. There's Matt Hardy. There's Save Big Money at Matt Menards. Like, there's plenty of Matts out there.
Matt Morgan.
Matt Jackson. Matt Morgan. Yeah.
Jesus.
We'll just fuck it. The rest of the show, we're just gonna list all the Matts in wrestling.
just all the Matts we know. Period. Matt
Hardy.
Ring Matt.
Yeah, we got Matt Hardy, Matt Jackson, Matt Morgan. I think you
Matt
said
Menard.
Matt Menard, Matt Riddle,
Matt Taven.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
I'm Matt Taven.
Matt Jackson.
There's not that many Matts out there, is there?
I think Prince Albert's real name is Matt.
Matt Bloom.
You're right. Yeah.
Yep, Matt Bloom.
Yeah, Matt Bloom. Matt Bloom.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Brett Spitter Swallow. What the fuck are we doing?
We could have gone on all night thinking of Matts and it just been like, oh. This is more of a general one. I'm just gonna swallow Stardom. You knew I had to mention it at some point. It's the best promotion in the world. All women's wrestling in Japan. It's fucking amazing. They're in the midst of their 5-star Grand Prix. Oh, Matt Raywald. Great call by Bakley down there.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyone else, if you got any Matts, please chime in down below.
In the chat.
Yeah.
All your Matts.
Yeah. All them. It's the Matt chat, baby. But yeah, Stardom, killing it. I just can't recommend it anymore. I'll give anyone my credentials if you want to watch it.
Matt Hogan.
Hazuki, Julia, Tam Nakano, Saya Kamatani, fucking Starlight Kid. I could go on and on and on.
You're just making shit up now.
I know.
None of that sounded real.
It's all a comic book.
You're just making noises with your mouth.
Yeah,
I think you hiccuped. You were like, Zuki.
I will finish by saying this.
Matt Cardona.
Striker,
Matt
Cardona.
Nice. Matt, yeah. We stink.
Yep.
Well, they have time to think.
Yeah, I know. And they might be Googling and shit.
I'm about to Google.
Justin,
how about Matt Bourne, who was the original Doink, right?
Yep, Matt Bourne. Yeah. Justin's just renaming people Matt the Hitman Hart.
Yep. Well, they'll keep coming to us.
Yeah.
Vince, spit or swallow?
Spit or swallow? I'm gonna swallow the fact that Julius Creed was out here calling my guy Roddy Strong for that bullshit that he was doing in that tag match a few weeks ago.
Matt Seidel.
And Matt Seidel. Judge Matt. What? Ring Matt. Okay. But also
Ring Matt. That might be my favorite. Oh shit.
We might have to change the title of the episode to Scissor Meet Matt.
Yeah.
Or something. Sergeant Matt, Buddy Matt.
All right, Vince, please get your swallow out. I believe you were saying you're swallowing the Creeds, calling out Strong. Finally,
calling out Roddy on his bullshit, and also the
man.
debut, the metal.
I am with you on that. I'm swallowing that as well as the debut of Gallus, leading towards what this whole show has been building towards, which is Worlds Collide. But one spit I do have, I'm spitting the Creeds tucking their pants into their socks.
Ooh,
I was looking at that and it was bugging the shit out of me. They both did it. It's weird as fuck. You're on national TV. Why are you being weird? I want to support you, but I cannot support people who tuck their pants into their socks.
Yeah, it's pretty whack.
Maybe they saw snakes in the locker room and they were trying to avoid them.
Stop.
Yeah, Gallus comes out, wrecks Diamond Mine, leaves Roddy laying. And there's a little layer of the fact that before Apollo's Creed's match with Roderick Strong last week, he had like a premonition that showed all of Diamond Mine just like knocked out in the ring, hurting. And it was the exact same thing we saw after Gallus attacked, even with like a green hue over it. So apparently Apollo Creed is a psychic or a fortune teller as well in NXT, which is very interesting to me that he's premeditating attacks.
Matt Cross, that's a good one. There was also, what was his name in Lucha Underground? Fuck, I can't remember.
I don't give a fuck that it's a collegiate wrestling thing.
Son of Havoc.
Bakley, it's fucking
Was it Son of Havoc?
Son of Havoc, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
With Evilise.
Yeah.
There you go.
They were the first trios champ. Who was the third? Oh, Angelico. It was Angelico.
I don't like that guy either.
Because when he jumped off the roof of Dario Cueto's office. Anyway.
My first swallow is the fact that it was NXT Heatwave, which is one of their homage shows. And this was their first homage to ECW. And you had Paul Heyman narrating the show for the NXT homage to
awesome.
ECW's Heatwave, which was fan-fucking-tastic.
I didn't know that. That's fucking sick.
Yeah, so like they do Great American Bash, they do Halloween Havoc. They've done a bunch of WCW homages.
Yeah.
Heatwave, that is the first ECW one. Yep.
War Games. Yep.
So this being the first ECW homage special. And then, we got Paul Heyman here. Why not fucking let him narrate it? Oh, it was great.
Hell yeah.
Brett, spit or swallow.
Me. I'm going to swallow, and this is something that Tim and I texted Tim after he and I recorded today. It's like, how the fuck did we not mention Kenny Omega coming back? And I don't care what you think about him. Oh, boy, here we go. He's a generational talent.
He's my piss break match.
Oh!
Speaking of which, I do got to take a piss break. So,
Jesus Christ,
right on cue.
I will say he's not near, like in AEW, has been nowhere near the level he was in New Japan. And I know I've heard people say, oh, I've heard to watch the Kenny New Japan shit and it still didn't do it for me. You know what? Well, you're wrong. That's all I got to say. You're wrong.
You do realize you're saying that directly to me.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Come at me.
I am spitting Kenny Omega, returning.
Clearly,
and here's the thing. I'm going to give the guy a little credit because I saw a lot of people talking about how bad he looked in the match, you know, and I'm like, well, he's fucking human. Like, he's not the wrestling god that everyone makes him out to be.
And he shook it off, he laughed it off, and he got past it, and it was great. Sorry.
He is a fucking human, so he is allowed to make mistakes. He, especially after all the time he's had off and recovering from injuries and all that. Absolutely fine. I've never seen Kenny Omega as the mega wrestler that everyone else has seen him. I will say, in ring, I'd say he's on par with Seth Rollins and some of the other people that I think are great in-ring wrestlers. I don't think he's a tier above. And the stuff that I really enjoy about wrestling, Kenny doesn't offer me.
Fair.
He can put on great matches. He is not a great character. And he has not put on great matches since he's been in AEW.
I wouldn't go that far, but
Kenny Omega is the wrestling equivalent of the Popeye spicy chicken sandwich.
That's fantastic, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's great. So thank you.
Because it was hot, but it was overhyped, and then you have it, and it was like, yes, it's good.
No,
but
wasn't.
It's not the best spicy chicken sandwich.
Yes, it was. Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's not the best.
What's a better one?
If you say spicy McChicken, I'm kicking you out of the fucking call.
For real.
Spicy McChicken. No.
There ain't shit. Like, for fast food joints, you ain't getting a better one. So I will take that and swallow it whole because you just complimented Kenny Omega. No,
I'm going to have to make the Matt chat part of the description because we're still going.
Yeah,
like,
I love
it.
Not
done.
And I love, Katie's now fired out a few like real names, which I love. But no, Ritter, I'm glad you said it. Like, what you like in wrestling, he doesn't bring to you. But what I like in wrestling, he brings it in fucking spades. And there's been some of his AEW heel shit. And with, granted, Dan Callis, we always called him Dan on our show. I'm not even going to say why. But he helped that. No doubt about it. That guy fucking rules. But I think Kenny did some good character work, but I totally agree. Like, that is not his bread and butter. And, man, some of the shit from 2017 and 18 in New Japan he's done is just unbelievable.
Can we give him shit for wrestling in a shirt like we gave Ric Flair for wrestling in a shirt?
That was a little interesting, but I'm wondering if it's something with like the compression of his shoulder. I don't know. It was odd.
I don't understand what Mike Bailey has to do with this unless he's trying to change it on the mics, but okay. Yeah. Now everything
Mike
that has to
Bailey.
do with ball, cat, speedball, football, all balls. All now it went from the mat chat to the balls check.
I
That's all the
didn't
balls we
see
got.
the
The ball
Mike
pit.
Bailey until after you said something. That's fucking funny. Shit.
Where were we?
We were sitting like Kenny Omega wearing the shirt.
Oh,
yeah.
I swallowed
You
Kenny.
you swallow
so
Kenny, I
yeah.
spit Kenny.
I was
And
spitting
you-
Kenny too.
Again,
Well,
you
you're
made a great like
You're not spitting if you're calling him the Popeye spicy chicken, baby.
that's
Well,
true.
I have said that I like it's a good sandwich. I don't think it's the best spicy chicken sandwich.
Read the
Say a
chat.
better one.
So
Go on.
what I will say is that is a big thing that I'm an advocate for. Like, here's the thing. I am never going to, like, I will sit here and say, me personally, I believe Matt Riddle is human garbage trash. I do not like him, his character, any of that. But I will never tell someone you're not allowed to like him
Yeah.
because I don't like him. Because that is the beautiful thing about wrestling is there
I
is
feel like you
something
have
out
told
there
people-
for everyone.
And
I
most
feel like you
people
have
don't
told people-
subscribe to that.
Oh, no, I've told people they're not allowed to come on my show and say nice things about him. But that's because this is my
It's
house. And
your
you don't
show,
disrespect me
yeah.
in my house.
No.
You can say whatever
What
you want
about
about him.
wrestlers that like Matt Riddle? You disown them.
No, I've disowned wrestlers who work with Matt Riddle because of the curse of Matt Riddle, which we've discussed and is a real thing.
There's a reason I haven't mentioned the guy's name. I'll just leave it at that.
Listen, if you look at everyone in WWE that Matt Riddle has associated himself with, bad things have happened to each and every one of them. Timothy Thatcher,
Matador.
yes. Timothy Thatcher, fired. Keith Lee, released. Now he's in a tag team over in AEW. MSK, split up. Wesley's taking losses. The other dude, who knows where the
Hitler
fuck he is.
stash.
Hitler stash. Thatcher, like I said, fired. Randy Orton, broken back. Street Profits couldn't win a fucking match to save their lives, and now we're taking L's to Seth Rollins. Everyone that has hitched their wagon to Matt Riddle has had bad careers afterwards. The curse of Riddle is real. That's
love
not
it.
my fault.
I love it.
Pete Dunne is now Butch. Like, I'm not saying anything that isn't true here, ladies and gentlemen. There's a curse of Riddle. It
Oh,
exists.
that might be the funniest thing tonight. Just
Vince-
after the pause. Pete Dunne is Butch, for God's sakes. And then I'm like, you're right, they were tag team champ. That match they had with fucking Undisputed Era, I think it was NXT Portland, was awesome.
Oh my
by the
God.
way. That was really funny.
Vince, spit or swallow, please.
I feel like this is the second or third time in a row where it's my turn to spit or swallow, and Brett just brings something up and it cracks me, and I can't all focus in all senses. Let me
That's
swallow.
why I'm here. That's why I'm here, baby.
Let me swallow Roxy versus Cora Jade. Love the gear by Roxy. Loved the intensity. I thought the match was fantastic. Thought it was the right person that should have won. I think Cora needed the win for sure. Roxy can go ahead and eventually get that dub at some point. We'll allow this feud to continue, but I am going to spit the fact that I think it should still be a DQ if you put a weapon on the floor and then you purposely set up a move to hit your opponent on top of said weapon. That should be a DQ because that establishes intent of
I
using
agree.
said weapon. Now, if you want to say tossing them onto the announce table, okay, now you're blurring the lines a little bit, like the floor, the ring mat. That's fine, but purposely placing a weapon in the wrestling ring somewhere there, and when this is not a no DQ match, and then you use said weapon like a DDT, no, that's a spit. That's a hard spit. I think that should be a DQ.
I agree. If she had brought a chair in and DDT'd her on a chair, it would have been a DQ. Kendo stick is no different. The feud and match is great and fun. Cora getting the win. makes sense. You got to build, Roxy is that baby face. You don't want to just end it here. The match finish was bullshit. I am going to spit the fact that Grayson Waller is getting a TV show. One of the best parts of Triple H's Monday Night Raw was the fact that we're not having a fucking TV show, talk show every week. And then Shawn Michaels is all like, well, if you're not going to do it, I'll do it. And I'll give it to the most annoying fucking person I have on my roster, Grayson fucking Waller.
Shit.
Yeah, I had that as one of my spits too. Another talk show.
What's it called?
Waller effect. The Waller effect.
Yeah, the Waller effect.
Nonsense.
Stupid.
Should be called Balls to Walls.
Yep.
Or from the windows to the walls.
To the windows.
Justin, just so you know, we're on balls now. We're done with mats. We're on balls now.
Balls Mahoney.
Exactly. See, we're on balls.
That
balls
was the
Mahoney,
first.
Skull and 8 Ball.
Matt Von Erich.
I think he's stuck in a time loop on mats. He cannot escape it.
I think he got lost in our last episode.
Possibly. Brett, spit or swallow?
I'll swallow Daniel Garcia versus Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. I haven't done that in a very long time. Sorry.
Do it.
Ross.
I like to purposely do it.
Do it. One, I swallow way more their previous match, even though I think this match was probably better. But so on our show, and Tim and I talked about it a lot today, like one of my biggest dislikes about AEW is the sheer lack of upsets. Like you rarely ever see like a lower mid-card guy beat a higher guy. Like it just doesn't happen often. We could count it on one hand. And Garcia beating Danielson a couple weeks ago, even with the assistance of Jake Hager, popped me big time because I did not expect it. So, I assumed Danielson was going to win this match, and that's fine. But, man, Daniel Garcia is just fucking awesome. And, again, for what I like in wrestling, he's perfect. He is a pro. Even though it's funny that he's a sports entertainer in Jericho's faction, I love it because he is the most pro wrestler out there. The guy's 23. He is a fucking menace in the ring. Great submissions, counters. He can hang. He's got the facials. He's great at submissions. He's getting better on promos, and I know that's why they put him with Jericho. It's working. However, the post-match, where, he was kind of like showing some respect to Danielson, and Jericho came out and they had that whole thing like, okay, I'm fine with it for right now. I don't want Garcia to leave. I think he needs, like, Blackpool Combat Club I fucking love, but they don't need him right now. He and Wheeler need to be separate. They need to be kind of eternal rivals. But yeah, there's really just kind of a big Daniel Garcia swallow.
I'm with you. The match was fucking fantastic. Like I said, this is one of those things where it's that mix that Triple H found that Tony just can't keep consistent, where you had great fucking wrestling, and then on the tail end, you had the drama. Because Jericho runs down and he's like, "You're not joining them. You're staying with me." And he attacks Daniel Bryanson or Bryan Danielson. And then
Daniel Bryanson.
Yes, good. Daniel Bryanson.
Daniel Bryanson.
I like it.
Then Garcia's like, "Dude, what the fuck? Like, what's your problem?" And then Jericho threatens Garcia backstage, and Ricky Steamboat shows up, puts Jericho in his place. Parker tries to get tough. Steamboat like chest punched him or heart punched him and dropped him.
Referenced their feud from 2009 WWE based on what Mickey Rourke's The Wrestler. That's like when I first got back into wrestling after like an 8-year hiatus was WrestleMania 25. So I still have fond memories of that time. And like Steamboat Jericho had that match and I think Backlash, and Steamboat could still fucking go at that point. It was awesome. But yeah, good to see the Dragon on the show last night. Yeah, he did. It was
like they had to have had at least more
like the
than
5-point palm exploding heart technique.
Well, now that's the thing. Does Daniel Garcia slay the dragon that is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, because he's the Dragon Slayer?
Ooh. I mean, I could see Steamboat's got one in him.
If Ric Flair's got 5 apparently. So
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see it. I'll be honest. I mean, we still got the fucking Midnight Express out there wrestling and having decent
Jesus.
matches. Like Steamboat could go out and have one match for 10 minutes for sure.
Vince, spit or swallow.
I am gonna.
When it's your turn, you think you'd have something ready every time.
I do have stuff ready, but then I'm trying to figure out okay, I'm gonna go ahead. Quick swallow. I'm gonna swallow the Super Diva Quincy Elliott. I loved it. I loved it. What?
What are you talking about? With the what? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Never mind. Sorry. I did not have that in my notes. I know what you're talking about now. He's been on NXT Level Up. Yes.
I did not know who that was until I was working the Bengals game last week, and my boy who I watched SmackDown with showed me him, and I'm like, I'm on board. Just seeing one picture, I'm like, I love it.
It's the rat.
But I've never seen him, but yeah.
Ricky is a dragon and a steamboat. Garcia can play him. There you go.
Steamboat Willie.
No, but yeah, I'm a swallow the super diva Quincy Elliott. I was not expecting that promo. I thought it was pretty well delivered, and I'm intrigued. I'm interested. So I'm all about it. So just a quick swallow there for that.
I'm not gonna lie to you. When you said Super Diva Quincy Elliott, I thought you were talking about something that had nothing wrestling related to do because I didn't remember what his name was, and I didn't put it down in my notes. So I'm like, what the fuck is he swallowing now? Like, is this some basketball thing that he's just trying to bring into the show?
No,
I'm
not
with
this
you,
time. Not this time.
It's the demon offspring of Mabel.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna swallow Braun Breaker defeating Funko Pophead looking ass George Lopez child flashback head looking ass, as Katie said. And also then Tyler Bates showing up, and pretty much with Gallus, which we talked about, and Blair Davenport, which we talked about, and now Tyler Bate at the end of the show, even though it was a spoiler for people who watch NXT UK, knowing that he won the tournament. The whole idea that we're getting another Worlds Collide, we're going to see, NXT US versus NXT UK, and the people that didn't get fired being a part of this, and the future of what NXT UK Europe is going to be shaped by guys like Dragunov and Tyler Bate and Mako Satomura and all of these people that still have jobs with NXT UK. So I'm actually excited for a Worlds Collide pay-per-view.
Yeah, I actually wrote down before I heard about the Worlds Collide pay-per-view and the releases. I was like, I'm swallowing what appears to be the apparent fusion dance between NXT UK and NXT 2.0. I thought they were actually just fusing together. But yeah, I'm also swallowing Tyler Bate coming out standing in the middle of the ring, holding up his UK championship. Somehow he discovered time travel. So I think that's what it is. He discovered time travel and went back in time after he won the championship. So that's what happened. I don't know what you're talking about. After Super Diva Quincy Elliott, Tyler Bate just walked out, and that was the main event of NXT Heatwave. I don't remember any other match. We only had 2 title matches. I think the last match was actually Mandy Rose versus Zoe Stark. So I don't know what you're talking about, man.
No, that match happened, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Though I will say Mandy Rose versus Zoe Stark was a great match. We're probably going to get Mako versus Mandy, which with Mandy's run, I'm excited for. However, with Tyler Bate, I need something. I need Tyler Bate to have a butler manager who refers to him as Master Bates going forward, and just constantly interrupts him. Like if he's talking to women, excuse me, Master Bate. Like I need that going forward. Tyler Bates British butler?
Can the butler be named Jeeves?
The butler can be named Jeeves. Vince, we are on Brett for Spit or Swallow. I will be right back.
Go for it, Brett.
So I'm going to go back to New Japan, and hopefully Matt comes back because I want to hear his name for Tetsu Naito because I'm sure he's got one.
He does.
But I'm going to swallow the G1 semifinal that was Tetsu Naito versus Will Osprey, which as a New Japan fan, that's the one big fresh matchup that had never happened yet. and we got to see it, and it lived up to the hype. It was awesome. 20 minutes, frenetic pace. They had great chemistry. Like the two characters meshed very well. Titty Sewer NATO. That seems about right. But no, it was an awesome match. Had never seen it before. They'd kind of been building up like Naito, like commentary the whole tournament was like kind of building it up that Naito was going to win and get his moment. And so it was kind of a shock to see Osprey win. But I loved it. And I've just been like kind of trying to, because I didn't write anything down here or prepare. So I'm just like racking the brain, and that's my swallow here. And yeah, now we got Titty Sewer NATO.
Yeah.
So I got my answer. We don't need Matt.
We might not need him, actually.
Excuse me?
There he is. Titty Sewer. I was wondering what your name for Tetsu Naito is, because I swallowed his match with Will Osprey. Who is Will Osprey?
Titty Sewer NATO. Katie knows.
I love it. But I was saying, when I started, I'm like, I hope he comes back because I need that name. And Katie just
no, it's okay. Katie came in clutch with the answers.
Yeah, quick. Love it.
I feel like Katie wrote them all down and has them ready to go.
How many are there that you have for sure?
I don't have a list. And sometimes, like when we did Katsukuchi earlier, I couldn't remember Uganda's first name, so I had to Google it. And then once I looked at what his name was, I was like, okay, Katsukuchi, Uganda. There is Hariyoshi.
I know you've said
Tamagotchi.
A number of them on the league chat.
Yeah, Hariyoshi Tamagotchi, Titty Sewer NATO. There's a shit ton. Oh, Herky Jerky Goto or Gato, Herky Jerky Gato. One of my favorites.
Yeah. Oh, classic.
Yeah. Oh my god.
There's also like Take Some Kashi. Yeah.
I would love to see a list.
I will get Koda's Bushy. Yep. I will make a list. I will go through with Katie. Help her remind me. I will make you a list and I will send it out.
I love it.
Oh my god. Put it in a t-shirt.
Koda's Bushy.
Koda's Bushy. Vince, spit or swallow?
Oh my god. Let me swallow Roman and Sami Zayn being on the casting couch together and just having fantastic chemistry. Because I fucking loved it. Like him just like, it's like, yeah, like I've been having issues with Jay. He's been very hostile. And then Roman just kind of like gaslighting his ass. He's like, yeah, thank you. You get it. And letting him answer his phone and stuff. Fucking chemistry is fantastic.
And all of this just to get him to pass a message to KO. Like, hey, you and KO are still friends, right? Can you tell him I don't owe him shit? And he's like, yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, we're still good friends. We haven't talked in a while, but yeah, I can tell him that you don't owe him shit. Like, all of that bonding, like Sammy finally getting his moment, and then all of that just for him to be like, I need you to pass a note to your Canadian friend in class. Like, that's why you're here.
But I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. And then he took a bullet for Roman at the end of SmackDown.
Not just that, but he also had a banger of a 5-way match. Canada supporting the shit out of Sami Zayn during that match, him getting hurt and coming back out, and Sheamus getting the win. So we're getting Sheamus versus Gunther for the IC
fired
title.
Up for that. You better believe. Yeah. When is that match?
That is going to be Clash of the Castle.
Okay.
Yes.
When is that again? The 3rd?
Next week Saturday.
Yeah, or 2 weeks, Vince. Yeah. 2 weeks Saturday, September 3rd.
So what time of day will that be given?
Probably in the morning.
Okay.
Which is going to suck because my daughter's birthday is the next day. So I'll be setting up for her birthday the next day and doing running around. So I probably won't catch it till later on replay.
I'm definitely going to watch that show for sure. And probably not live, but yeah, I'll definitely watch it.
Oh, yeah. It's got to be good.
Yeah.
To finish off Dynamite, I am spitting the fact that I have to swallow the fact that they have one women's match a week. And it doesn't matter how good or bad the women's match is. I just have to swallow it because at least they got the women on TV, and it annoys the fuck out of me. So I'm spitting the fact that we relegate TV time to one women's match. Now it was 2 because we had one on Rampage and one on Dynamite, but that's all the time the women had in an entire 2-hour show.
Where are
And
your
it drives me
champions? Where are your champions?
Jade was on Rampage, where apparently now that's where they put all the black people. Like
Thunder Rosa.
Private Party was there, Keith Lee and Swerve was there, the Black Ref was there, Jade was there, Athena was there, Kira Hogan was there. I thought that's what they were gonna do with Ring of Honor, but apparently they're like, no, we'll just put them all on Rampage.
Oh, that's funny.
Fucking
shit.
Tony, Jesus Christ, he's as bad as you, Vince.
Cocaine.
What did
is
I do?
Cocaine's a hell of a
soul.
cocaine's a hell of a drug, man. Clearly.
Heart and Soul and D'Lo Brown slander. That's what the fuck you did.
Okay, bro. Like
You're talking about the real deal now.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
Do you not like D'Lo Brown?
No, I do. We were on a show together, and it was a debate show, and I said that D'Lo Brown never struck me as world heavyweight title material. I never saw him as like in the main title picture. I saw
Which I then took and ran with that Vince is racist because D'Lo's from Chicago.
Yeah.
And we talked about like indie championships in Chicago and all of these things, and then we just pushed the narrative that Vince was racist.
I love it. And I was going to say
Katie
that's
said.
a pretty fair comment, and I like D'Lo, but yeah.
Thank you.
Best
you,
frog
bud.
splash in the business, baby.
Oh,
D'Lo Brown, low down.
especially with that vest on.
Listen, nobody reaches back and grabs their nuts like D'Lo does before the frog splash.
Love it.
Oh my god.
No one gets that. D'Lo does.
I'll stick with the AEW women's division, and I'm going to spit the fact that we're getting Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa again on the pay-per-view. Love both women, but we just saw it at Forbidden Door. Fine match. It was all right. Whatever. They've been doing this Thunderstorm bullshit, which fine. Name sucks, but they're a good team. Fun to watch. I loved the match against Britt and Jamie Hayter. That was the Dynamite I was at. Might have been match of the night. But Britt Baker should be in this match. It should be a triple threat, if only just to switch it up and not have the same match 2 pay-per-views in a row. And they didn't build any story with this. All they did was have them tag team together. And you said, where's the champions? Thunder Rosa was just watching TV with their belt and her dumb hat. And I like Thunder. I love Thunder Rosa. This championship reign has been dog shit. I don't think it's her fault. Maybe some of it.
No, whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, the match with Miyu Yamashita was all right. Their match in Japan was a lot better. And I was just expecting and hoping for more.
Wait,
because
the match between me, you, and who?
Shita.
Okay.
Amashita. Me, you, and Amashita.
What about mashed potatoes?
I like them with gravy.
Me, you, and mashed potatoes. That sounds like a good time.
It really does.
That should be the name of the title. Me, you, and mashed potatoes.
Me, you, Matt, and mashed potatoes.
Me, you,
Me, you, and Matt potatoes.
Yeah, I was just fucking sick. What I was thinking earlier when we're talking about matches, what about matches? So it's Mattches. Yeah. But yeah, then Britt has been like adjacent to this whole thing. And I'm not like the world's biggest Britt Baker fan, but she's probably the biggest star they have, and I still think she's pretty good. Why not have the fucking triple threat? I just don't get it. Like, whatever. Spit.
Oh, because Statlander Tegan Knox herself, and Tegan Knox can't get a passport or a visa to wrestle in
Didn't see that.
America. So, like, Vince, spit or swallow.
I'm just swallow the fact that we've come up with like about 5 or 6 different titles for the episode.
Look at Bakley down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say swallow that?
I'm gonna swallow that.
Okay. Hell
I'm gonna swallow our creativity.
I
on the show.
agree.
But in more seriousness, because we talked about it briefly, I'm gonna swallow that heck of a fatal 5-way match for the Intercontinental Championship #1 contenders. Sammy, fantastic. Sheamus won. Baron Corbin was there in casual clothing. Madcap Moss still looks like he wrestles in Hanes.
Why did that sound like it turned you on? The way you said Baron Corbin was there and
Still there in
casual
casual clothing?
Yeah, like,
Because I'm trying to understand Happy Corbin now. It's like, what is he now? Like
casual clothing.
casual clothing. Well, I mean, if that's one thing, like, can we talk about how how fucking why am I drawing a blank on his name on commentary?
Pat
Help me out here.
McAfee.
Pat McAfee. Yeah, he's like he kept calling him shirtless Corbin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's a thing. Maybe Baron Corbin is a handsome man. He attracts other men. Maybe that's why he's wearing the casual wear.
Casual
Maybe
clothing.
on that.
Casual clothing. Yeah.
I'm
Gotta
gonna
say
spit the
it's
Ronda.
seductively and very soothing.
I'm gonna spit the Ronda segment. Her getting
That could-
arrested. That whole
Same.
thing fell flat for me.
Same.
What were you gonna say, Brett?
I was gonna say casual clothing could be another episode title.
With CM Punk laying on his back on a pile of money with an M&M covered in semen.
Yeah.
Episode 257, casual clothing.
Casual Matt.
We should just call it episode 257. Who needs a fucking title?
Or just Matt.
You know, the Ronda Rousey segment really fell flat for
Oh,
me.
shit.
Power went out.
Yeah, kick the fucking cord out.
I was gonna say,
Bong. It was the Undertaker.
oh, I thought Sabu.
Or someone making their AEW debut.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, for the 50th time.
The whole Ronda thing fell flat for me. Her getting arrested, her beating up security guards, the fact that there weren't Mounties and they had police in Canada, which we all know per WWE kayfabe is not true. There are no police in Canada. It's only Mounties.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
The Mounties or the Quebecers were pretty tight.
Oh God.
Or the amazing, as I like to call
The
them,
amazing French Canadians, yeah.
Well, I call them the amazing French Canadas.
I like that better.
Because I don't understand why you're Canadian if you're from Canada, not Canada. Like, doesn't make sense to me.
And PCO's still out there banging, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brett, spit or swallow?
I got a double again. I'm going to swallow the fact that Dragon Lee made his Dynamite debut because I fucking love Dragon Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked great in that match. But I'm going to spit the fact that his faction turned on him and unmasked him because why?
Rude. That's so rude.
Yeah, so rude.
On the House of Dragons episode.
And it was his brother, too.
His own flesh and
I don't know.
blood.
So I just wanted to see that, at least that trio just continue to be a thing. Like, I think Andrade has obviously been misused.
Yes.
You know, him having Roosh there has been good. I think Roosh has been awesome. He's a guy I'd barely seen before coming here that I was very familiar with, but he has been high marks for me since coming. Like I said, I love Dragon Lee. Was happy to see him. He's one of the best high flyers in the world. But I don't know. Maybe it's going to lead to something. Maybe it'll lead to him. I don't know if Dragon Lee will be back, but if he is, and this will lead to something, then I'm all for it.
I'm spinning that as well, and I hated the fact that they did that turn towards the end of the episode, and then they cut to the credits, and then we don't know what the fuck else happened.
Yeah, it was the very end.
Yeah. So like, I wanted to like they call themselves La Facción Ingobernables, a spinoff like Los Ingobernables.
Yeah.
If you're gonna call yourself the faction Ingobernable, you should actually be a faction, and and not just a tag team. Ingobernable.
La Facción. Gobbledygooker.
Moulin Rouge, not a big fan. I don't see it yet, but I'll give him time. I had no idea who Dragon Lee was. I was very confused. Yes.
Who's Moulin Rouge?
It was Andrade, Moulin Rouge, and then the cartoon dragon Bruce Lee in a trio
American
match.
Dragon.
Got it.
I thought it was cool that they had a cartoon dragon on TV. That was fun.
Yeah.
They had 3 dragons on the show.
They did. They had 3 dragons on the show.
That's impressive. Can we
And
swallow the fact that AEW actually had a house of
I was
dragons?
going to say they were in a house
of dragons. Yeah.
I'll be dragging these nuts later. Vince, spit or swallow?
Mandy versus Zoe. I thought the match was fantastic, even though Zoe got injured, either kayfabe or non-kayfabe wise. we'll talk about it when we get to SmackDown. Whoever.
Well, they
decides.
said Takeda was the one that was not medically cleared.
No,
so.
they said that Zoe got injured in her match with Mandy, and then Nikita was also not medically cleared to compete.
But they did say the reason that they're not here tonight was because Takeda was
Zoe.
not medically cleared.
No, they mentioned Zoe was injured. And
they mentioned that Zoe got hurt in her match, but they said the reason they were not on the show tonight was because Nikita was not medically cleared.
Isn't this the second time Nikita was supposed to be in the tournament and gets injured? So, like, we're seeing the common thread with her.
Maybe or they just realized that she's really kind of trash in the ring and they didn't want to put her on the main roster.
Thank you.
Nobody denied the fact that she wasn't bad in the ring. We just all talk about how we like to look at her. Like, it's a nice aesthetic.
Unseasoned chicken, as Powerbomb Jutsu says. But Mandy continues to improve. She continues to impress me in the ring. And I love the spot where she takes the knee brace and does her V trigger, which is better than Kenny Omega's, by the way, because it's with a knee brace. And got the win. Yeah. So Takeda not vax couldn't go up to
Yes, Bakley. Game of Thrones was the sponsor of Dynamite, and Marcus has never seen Game of Thrones because he sucks. I'm gonna kind of play off that, and I'm just gonna swallow Toxic Attraction as a whole, because not only did Mandy do her thing, but Toxic Attraction had a great tag team match on SmackDown tonight, where they did a really nice thing where they used their tags to matter. That's how they won the match. Was JC got the sneaky tag?
So they did win.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. So not only did they get the spot and fill in for Zoe and Takeda, but JC comes in. Natalia thinks that Gigi is legal, tries to go put her in the sharpshooter. JC, who tagged her in and then dropped down and hid, slides in, gets the roll up and gets the win. So them doing actual real tag team shit in the tag team tournament, getting the win. Former NXT Women's Champions, big swallow for me. And anytime I see Gigi on my TV, it is a swallow like a fucking concrete mixer from Culver's.
Question: how far did they advance in the tournament, and do they stay on main roster?
I don't think they stay on main roster. I don't know why people want to see Toxic Attraction split up. And then
I don't want them to split up. I want Mandy to come up with.
I think that they will make it pretty far. Mandy might come up if she. After she loses the title, we have to see when she loses the title. Maybe she loses it to Meiko Satomura at Worlds Collide. You never know.
You gotta have a name for her, right?
No, I do not.
Why?
Because she's on the
because she's a woman, and I don't want to be disrespectful to women.
Fair, very fair. Love it.
So all this was while Bailey was berating Sonya from the crowd.
Yes, very true. Bailey in the crowd was fantastic with Io and Dakota as well.
Because not only was she and Gigi in the screen at the same time.
Not only was she berating Sonya, but she was also yelling at Michael Cole, and that was fun because Bailey and Michael Cole are fantastic.
We still want that match.
I'm gonna swallow Liv versus Schatzy. I am a huge Schatzy Blackheart fan, as you can tell. I think this is one of both Shotzi's better matches that she's had on main roster, as well as Liv's.
Yes.
And the promo beforehand was a bit more subdued version of Schatzy, which was great because she does do a lot of yelling in her promos. And this was kind of a toned down version that I actually enjoyed from Schatzy. I feel like it was less over the top dramatic, and she's kind of finding her voice as a heel on this program. So I'm swallowing that whole thing from Liv and Schatzy. Liv got the win. Hate to see Schatzy take an L, but makes sense. You know, we got the champ out there. So,
yep.
Brett,
I'll admit I'm running a little thin here, but I got a good one here. I'm gonna swallow, and this one's for you, Ritter. Miyu Watanabe versus Miyu Yamashita in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. We got Miyu versus
You just
Miyu.
said you didn't want to do it with the women because you didn't want to be disrespectful. You are.
I know. Well, we had I said Miyu Yamashita earlier, and you're like,
Miyu Watanabe.
Miyu Watanabe, yep, versus
Watanabe.
Miyu Yamashita. But one is spelled M-I-U, and one is spelled M-I-Y-U. How crazy is that? But the match itself was fucking awesome. Semifinals, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. what was it called? The Tokyo Princess Cup semifinal.
Tokyo Princess.
About an 18-minute banger. These women beat the shit out of each other, and it was awesome. Miyu versus Miyu.
I'll do this
Sounds
just
like
for
a drink.
you.
Tokyo Princess Cup.
Just for you. Mako Satomura. Make me sad no more.
That's excellent. Did you just come up with that?
I did. I really did.
love it. I fucking love it.
He's like a
I've
freestyle
not been sad at all since I've been on here. So yeah,
exactly. He's like Max Caster. He's Matt Caster.
Yeah.
Vince Spitter Swallow.
I'm gonna swallow maximum male miles.
Max is calm.
What? Hit Row, the cipher. I'm gonna swallow the cipher from Hit Row. Interrupting
Maxine vibing to the cipher, and Max running her away because can't let his sister, be exposed to black men like that.
She's hot.
Got very uncomfortable.
I'd only seen her like recently. She fine.
Did you notice that every time somebody that isn't white comes around Maxine, Max is very quick to he didn't like Los Lotharios last week. He was not having her dancing to Hit Row this week. There's something to that. There really is.
Los Lotharios, are they related to Jose?
They are the children of Jose.
Are they really?
No, it's Humberto and Angel Garza.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the boyhood dream,
the super sock.
Oh shit!
I'm actually watching that right now. 1996.
Oh, so
yeah.
Interestingly enough, is it on me? Because I'm out of shit. But
no, it's on me, and I've got two more. But I was gonna let Vince finish.
Oh, sorry.
Hit Row thing.
But mine had to do with 96. I'm not trying to jump the line here.
I'm gonna spit QT Marshall trying to be a knockoff Tony D on Rampage. First off, fuck QT Marshall.
Oh, I love him.
Fuck QT Marshall.
Because fuck QT Marshall. That's why I love him.
He's got this poker game going on. He's got this mixed match of non-Italians hanging out with them. He's trying to talk more Italian, more gangster.
Is he?
Act that way? Yeah,
was there a segment? What happened? I didn't watch yet. There was a segment?
A card game where he was being interviewed, and they're like, "Oh, hey, so are you worried about Powerhouse Hobbs after last week?" He's like, "I'm not worried about anyone." Then Hobbs comes in and flips the table and starts threatening them and all that shit. And
who was playing cards? The factory members?
The entire factory, yeah.
I kind of like
dominoes and cards.
I like that. I don't know. It gives me some old fucking APA vibes.
Fuck you, T. Marshall.
Always pounding ass,
Well, Brett, if you're just about out, do you have any more?
So the one more I was gonna say was related to 96, and it has nothing to do with this week. But I'm just gonna shout out my boys at the Year of Duke and Rogue podcast. So they basically pick a year and they go through it, and it was 96 WCW, and they just finished. And I watched all the fucking pay-per-views from Starrcade 95 to Starrcade 96. And boy, it was a wild ride. It was a lot of spits, a lot of swallows. And yeah, it was a ton of fun. And fun, hilarious times. What do you got?
If you want to continue that journey right now on YouTube, Return to Wrestling, which is a side venture that me and Travis do, just dropped Sold Out in 1997, which is the next pay-per-view.
Oh, shit. No so
shit. You can follow along with us, which
I will.
After this episode, it'll be Patreon exclusive for $1. But Travis and I have been traveling through the start of Nitro, all of the Nitros, and then the pay-per-views.
Nice.
So
that's the perfect pickup point. For real. So I know they are now doing their next stretch. They're going to do Starrcade 99 through the end of WCW, which is going to be very interesting. But I will definitely keep up because I watch old wrestling to go to bed every night, and it's all right, just pop it on. So yeah, I will join the ride. Is that on YouTube, you said?
Yeah, that the last episode, which is Sold Out 97, just dropped on YouTube. It is available. So if you go to youtube.com/Creation World, which is where we're streaming live now, you can find that. It's also out on our audio platforms. If you go check us out, you can go find that all at Linktree. But going forward, it'll be Patreon exclusive, but it'll only cost you $1. And if you do subscribe to the Patreon come September 1st, the next episode, which you already recorded, which is Super Brawl 7, will be up and available there as well. So you can hit 1997 sold out and then roll right into Super Brawl for just $1 and stick with us. We'll carry you through it. Vince,
I love it.
even though I plugged all that shit, do you have any more spits or swallows?
I'm spitting Sasha's car being broken into. Other than that, I'm done.
I thought you were about to say I'm spitting out.
I'm spitting out.
Spitting
that's
out,
a new one.
Matt. I'm spitting out, Matt.
I'll
be very curious to see what the title of the episode ends up being, because
right now it's we agreed on Scissor Party before we started, so as of now it's Scissor Party, but
I feel like there's a lot of worthy contenders here.
Seeing as we've come up with all these new titles and Vince is redoing the thumbnail anyway, we'll see what it ends up being.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I got one last swallow.
You can still scissor me, Daddy.
Yeah. My last swallow is Miro taking out Buddy Matthews. And
did that happen tonight?
That happened tonight.
That's fucking tight. I'll swallow
Buddy
that
Matthews
with you.
Had a squash match. Miro came out. He was holding Malachi Black's mask, threw it on the ground, and then just wrecked Buddy Matthews.
I love it. Buddy
that story.
Matthews.
That
was, I think it was Tim who fired that one. That was the first Matthews. That was good. It's
we didn't do this last week, but Brett, what was your favorite show you watched this week?
Shit, favorite show.
It could be the G1 Climax if you want.
But I just watched the one match from that. I'll just say that one match because it was that fucking good. Because I've only watched that and Stardom and Dynamite. And I guess Impact Emergence from top to bottom. Great show. So I'll say that. Impact Emergence. Yeah.
Vince, favorite show?
NXT Heatwave. I thought it was the best show from start to finish.
I'm going to agree with that.
Even though we didn't get a main event and Tommy just came out into the middle of the ring by himself.
I'm like building up my WWE queue for when all these tournaments and the G1 is over now. So like I'm definitely going to watch that Tony D, the Don versus Santos, no doubt.
Fantastic.
Phantasmo.
Yeah.
Phantasma.
El Phantasmo. He was in the G1.
All right, Brett, tell everyone where they can find Brainbuster Boys and all about your show. Plug all your shit.
At Brainbuster Boys on Twitter and Instagram, even though I haven't posted on there. I suck at it, but we're there. And all major audio podcasting platforms. We have our own channel, plus we're on the Visionaries Global Media Network. Great people, great shows there. And we talked about it earlier, but we had part 1 of what we're calling the Origin, and part 2 will be coming out this weekend. It is an entirely narrative-based episode. There will be no wrestling talk. It's going to be basically like a fucking audiobook. So if you haven't listened to part 1, do it. Come along for the ride, and you'll be coming with us. And no, it's going to be weird, wacky, and wild. And Ritter, thank you for listening. And I'm curious, and we'll talk off air about some of the older shit you listen to, because there's a lot of wacky shit we've done. But yeah, we have a lot of fun, and definitely going to have to start getting, like, we haven't had a ton of like guests of like friends on the show. We've had a couple, but we're going to start doing that as well. So maybe we could bring some Smacking It Raw to the brain.
Yeah, there you go. Hey,
maybe we could characters.
We could bust. Yeah.
So.
Do you want to play a character at some point?
I'll do it after Vince plugs himself. Vince,
because I already know what the fuck.
I'll plug yourself.
I can butt plug myself. Okay.
Peg yourself.
Peg myself. Here you go. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SESVince. The link tree in my bio, linktree/SESVince will give you everything. Create Your World, Smack the Raw, Straight Talk. We just did the Get Your Bulls episode last week. I'm going to be dropping the Mamba Rankings episode this upcoming Wednesday on 8/24. Check that out. Like I said, Linktree/SESVince if you like basketball talk. And if you like tournaments, we fantasy booked women's tag team tournament with Katie Kinsey Bay. They will be dropping on the 31st. So WWE may be redoing their whole women's tag team tournament, but we did it better. The fellow Pornhub poppies linked up, and we just brought the fire, brought the heat, and smack at It's Creation World on Instagram.
That is fantastic. But ladies and gentlemen, finally the wreck has come back, baby. See, Vince is babbling on about shit. I should have been on this entire show. I don't know why I was not invited, but I will do Matt Ritter the service of plugging him here live, baby, live. First off, as Vince tried to say, but was not his place, It's Creation World on Twitter and Instagram. ITSCreatia. If you don't know how to spell world, get a fucking dictionary, you fucking idiot. Also, go follow that idiot Matt Ritter at Matt Ritter on Twitter only. Also, Smacking the Raw Pod on Twitter. If you care about what the fuck he thinks, I don't know why you would, but go follow him. Sure, why not? Also, link trees for Creation World and for Smacking the Raw. Link tree / Creation World. Link tree / Smacking the Raw. CreationWorld.com. Facebook.com/Creation World. Facebook.com/group /Smacking the Raw. All of these great places where you can find this show, all the fun stuff that we do. Vince not getting naked like he is supposed to. That is all over the place. We're trying to get him on OnlyFans. I don't know why he is fighting it. How about Vince in the Rack on OnlyFans? How does that sound, Vince? I will come over. I will spread you out on that casting couch and make sweet love to you, baby. I'm all for this. Anyway, as that idiot Matt Reddit normally does, because he is the patron saint of podcasting and the warden or whatever the fuck he calls himself. For him, Brett from the Brainbuster Boys and Daddy Delgado, I am the Rack. This has been the Smacking the Raw podcast, the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub, baby. And we're back.
Is Matt back or is the Rack back?
Matt.
See glasses on my face?
Jesus. The minute you were talking about like, oh, you want to do your own character, I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna bring up the Rack.
All I said was I have a character.
I didn't even think about the fact that your name is Matt that whole time. Doing that shit.
So
I don't even remember how it started, but it was fucking tight. I love that shit.
I'll explain this to everyone who's still hanging around and listening. When we used to backyard wrestle, my best friend Travis, who is the producer of this show, we wrestled at my house on a trampoline. He was a huge Rock fan, so I wanted to create a character that was kind of like Gilbert for the Rock, because I was an Austin guy, he was a Rock fan, so I made the Rack. The Rack never won a match because his finisher was the People's Low Blow and the Rack Bottom. So every time he low blowed somebody, he got DQ'd. He never won a match. When we were doing this podcast, I forget how long we got into it, but we did an episode called The Rise and Fall of HKW, the greatest wrestling promotion you've never heard of, which was the name of our show. That was the name of us. And because I did that, I had never done the voice or anything like that, but I did it for the show and made the Rack a character on the show. I always said that the Rack is a gender fluid trisexual, and I would flirt with people that were on the show to make them extremely uncomfortable, talk about how sexy they were and stuff like that, but also self-deprecating humor, making fun of Matt Ritter.
Of course, yeah.
So I would always call him that idiot Matt Ritter. I would do things where like I would get up and leave and the Rack would come in and I'd pretend like I got locked out of the room and shit like that. Stuff like that.
I love it. Yeah.
For the Rack character.
I mean, you know, we fuck with characters and narratives of narratives. Yeah, it's almost time to go to bed.
Oh my God.
The Rack became a thing on this podcast that I bring out very rarely, just every once in a while. Yeah,
love it. So yeah, I wasn't sure because I've never seen like the end of one of your shows because I just tune in a little bit. Like I wasn't sure if that was a normal closing. Well, man, I'm honored. The Matt.
Yes.
The Mac. I don't know. I'm fucking.
You're trying to create a pun.
My brain just always just tries to rattle joke after joke after joke. So I don't know if you guys have seen Letterkenny.
Yes.
So that's like my humor is just like trying to one up and top each other and just keep coming up with the jokes. Yeah.
Speaking of which, what were all the titles we came up with? Because I feel like we kept just throwing them out there and I forgot like half of them.
Casual clothing.
Casual clothing, Scissor Party,
Anything
the Load of
with
20
men.
Men.
Just have to go back and watch the section where we really got into the mats because I feel like that's when they started springing up a little bit.
Matt.
Casual clothing.
Seeing as I already named it this on YouTube and all that. Oh, I forgot to mention. I probably should have mentioned that because I completely forgot. The audio won't go up until Tuesday or Wednesday because Travis is out of town. So the only thing that people are going to be able to see are the YouTube and the Twitch, which I will plug when I plug it. So as soon as you have finished the thumbnail, send it to me and Travis.
Oh, well,
and
then we'll just keep using the same one.
I'll plug it. Yeah. Well, I thought you wanted to switch it to the money and the M&M.
Yeah, but my phone died, and then I might just end up knocking out, and I don't
Well,
want to
then
make promises I can't keep.
Then I have it, so I'll plug it when I plug it.
Do you not have a charger?
I think a theme is that I have them. I just forget that they're essential every day. The day you.
But you said your phone was dying before we went live. Like you could have just plugged it in at that point, right?
I could have.
Especially because you wrote everything down in a notebook. Like me, I use my phone. I use my phone for my notes.
I love it. I'm someone who
right
like
here. See that?
Yeah, like I'm someone who freaks out when my phone gets below like 50%. So it's plugged in off.
I really can't freak out while I'm doing the show because
when I'm doing the show, I do not ever. My phone is thrown across the room.
Yeah, so A, we're doing the show. B, the only one that I'd be texting is either Matt about like what the title and the thumbnail is going to be, or my girlfriend who's knocked the fuck out in the bedroom. So there's no one I'm really like on my phone. Like,
but you could right when we end, plug it in and then turn it on, and I bet it would work.
Or as Bakley said, you could put your phone on the charger now.
It's a pretty simple concept, I think. I'm not sure.
He acts like he doesn't get up doing shows anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to like I feel like after the post show, I kind of want to bring in people that are in the chat that are like actually been on the show. Like let's say like Katie's available. Like Katie, what the fuck are you doing?
We did that.
Actually right now. Everyone in the chat has been on the show.
On the first live stream we did the exact same thing. Like we finished and then we did like a separate Zoom with like 8 people and just got drunk. So, yeah, it was fun.
Sounds like a ball.
Yeah.
Well, I am gonna bounce though because I am running on little to no sleep the last couple days. Dude, like the overnight guy called off, so I worked overnight third shift on Tuesday and Wednesday, 9:30 to 6:30. Then so Wednesday I went 9:30 to 6:30 a.m. Went home, woke up, had to be back at work at 2 p.m. just to leave at 10 p.m. Be back this morning at 6 a.m. and I didn't leave till like about like 8:30.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, the only thing that kept me going was the fact that Melissa went ahead. It's like, you hungry? Let's go get Culver's. So she got me Culver's. We came back. I finished SmackDown, watched X-Men Evolution, and then I knew we were doing the show. So if it wasn't for that, I'd probably be like shit-faced in my bed right now. But Brett, it was fun. I'm glad we got to work.
Yeah.
Obviously, the chemistry was there. We knew it from the moment we linked up our mics. You know, it was all there. It was all there.
You're trying to make me jealous, or?
Well, you're the one trying to show off your mic changing colors and whatnot. You know, trying to be better than us.
Yeah, us Blue Yeti boys, the BYBs,
yeah, exactly.
The BYBs,
the BYBs,
BYBs for life.
Make that into like a NWO style T-shirt or like a Bullet Club style T-shirt. BYB boys.
BYB.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna head out. Later, y'all. If you guys still stay on the live stream, I'll probably be watching on Twitch as I fall asleep.
Well, I think Brett said he had to go.
Yeah, I'm
gonna bounce. So I'm not going to sit here and talk to people by myself. Nobody fucking wants that. That's why I have you on the show.
Why not? Go ahead and do that.
No, nobody wants that.
All right. Well, end the broadcast then.
All right. Bye, everybody.
This has been sick.